Legends say, in ancient times, when the gods walked with man, within the traditions of the Norse that were passed from the Celts, that there were warriors who traveled through the spiritual realms. These warriors spent their days on Earth as shamans, guiding the members of their clan to spiritual understanding. These shamans knew the Landvedi. They were known as Ulf-Hefnar of Odin, the Allfather, in Valhalla. Today, the modern Ulf-Hefnar continues the tradition of using magic and wisdom to help our clansmen and women find harmony. In the traditions of our ancestors, the Ulf-Hefnar now invites those who seek knowledge to come forth to the circle of knowledge, to share our experiences and find commonality amongst all. Following in the traditions of his ancestors, Dr. Mark Wiseman offers hope and peace in his message of understanding our personal spirituality. Join us now for this week's message here with the Alaska Ulf-Hefnar.
Hello. Over the last several weeks, we have explored extensively the principles of peace and love, the expression and demonstration of these throughout the many different facets of our lives. We have spoken about receiving and sharing this love with many different peoples in many different ways. This leads us to the next method of expression, and that would be the eternal manifestation of hope. We have discussed the concept behind the depth within the scope of love, and how empathy would be one of its highest levels. Hope is equally as important and equally as powerful. Now, many have spoken to me about their loss of hope and how they struggle to see beyond the moment to a time where everything will be brighter and happier. I must disagree. But before I divulge the enormity of hope, let us call upon the house of Odin in Asgard, that he and Freya will hear our desires and provide us with their favor.
Hail Odin, Lord of Asgard, warrior and wanderer, valiant and wise. You to whom all the gods of Asgard look, Sky Father, on the eight-legged steed. You who traded an eye for wisdom and ruled a turbulent realm. Give us the wisdom to accept the twists and turns of fate, even as you surrendered yourself to the mercies of the Norn. Protect us, All-Father, from what harm may come to us. Lead us through the wilderness and bring us safely to that great hall that you reserve only for the brave of spirit. Odin, we come to you today to seek your wisdom and guidance. We ask that you bestow upon those here the wisdom about the subject in which we speak. Be with them as they go forth and live their lives. Let us sip the cup of Odinr to bestow the wisdom of Kvasar. We ask for your guidance, that you be with us and guide us through the challenges that hell lay before us. Help us to recognize Loki as he attempts to deceive us, our true path. Hail Odin.
Hope. Hope is the intrinsic desire that the current struggles we are manifesting in our lives will pass us, allowing us once again to enjoy the world around us, as well as the people who make our lives so rich and diverse. Hope is that rope within our mind that we cling to with every bit of our resolve to see our tragedies through to their conclusion. Hope is the seed that drives every religious and spiritual practice or belief throughout all of history. Hope is a gift from the deities. Hope is the fuel that drives us past our perceived limits to where we truly experience what we can really be. Second only to love, it is the greatest gift we can give others, and that would be a sense of hope. Many describe those with too much hope as quote-unquote dreamers, and too little hope as stoics or realists. But really, there is never too much hope. Many have chosen to cast aside hope in favor of the here and now. Instead of searching for Pollyanna's pony, they see a room full of dung. They speak of being realistic or down to earth. These are the ones that drive and have driven monotheistic practices through the history of humankind. By being able to control the population's hope, they could therefore dictate the only way to get hope was to conform to their rules. They manipulated what hope really is. They contorted the beauty of this thing we call hope. If indeed peace is born within the mind by removing those emotional landmines, we've called them, before they are triggered, then hope is created within the heart. We know that there are those who have maintained their hope throughout the most arduous of journeys, to the point of death and back. There are those amongst us who maintain an overactive sense of hope, even against the most terrible of odds. It is this principle alone that proves that we all have this innate, intrinsic ability. Sometimes hope demands discipline. Sometimes hope blossoms without any help at all. Throughout history, people have been arrested and tortured for being optimistic or hopeful. Yet, it remains a part of the human experience. Many have made demands upon the universe and expected them to be delivered that same day or moment. And when that didn't occur, they surrendered their hope. This is a very important point. We'll talk a little more about it in a little bit, but the idea of surrendering, not losing. We have all had love and longed to be back in its warm, inviting gaze. We know too well the agony suffered as we counted the seconds until we could return to its comforting embrace once again. Hope. Hope is realistically a well of inspiration that never runs dry. It is this well that we may always draw upon, especially when we are at our darkest hours of our physical existence. Hope.
And now, a short break for these commercials. You're listening to the Alaska Uv Hefnar. Welcome back to the Alaska Uv Hefnar.
Welcome back, my friends. When we left, we were identifying really what hope is, ideologically, maybe even psychologically, certainly spiritually, as they are all connected here. Before we went to break, we spoke about the well of inspiration that would never run dry. However, like all things in our lives, we must actively seek and embrace hope. We must never surrender it willingly, for hope never fades. We simply slowly release it like the air from a balloon, surrendering it, thereby allowing the darkness to seep into our mind. The light of hope slowly seems to be faded. Many people have reported that hope is a giant torch that they must carry if they wish it to survive. They speak of needing to make sure it's given new fuel to continue its brightness amongst the dark world in which we live. But alas, I say nay. I say that hope is like the light of our sister, the sun, gladly surrounding us with her heavenly light, never fading. It is only as we begin to shade our eyes and hide from the sun where darkness begins its conquest, stealing joy and happiness. As the pressures mount, and the perception is that life's victories seem to be slipping away, many begin a process of surrendering their hope to the path of the fates, choosing to accept the victim mentality position instead of choosing to experience life intentionally. We've talked about that quite frequently. Living intentionally, of doing, being. When considering the maintaining of our hope, how does this manifest in our lives, one might ask? Like all of our other portions of mental discipline, so too does hope require a conscious exercise to retain or to build it back if you've surrendered it. We must learn our life's priorities. For if one places all of their love in their career or their payday, then they have not discovered true happiness and joy. As I have explained to many, those things matter not once we depart this physical realm, nor do they affect one's status once we shed this biological body. No one in the spiritual realm cares. Your wealth is measured by the lives you made better, and your willingness to continue to serve others, to help them become better, to help them have an easier life than you did. The first thing that many have said to me is that they fear that death will rob them of their joy, of their hope. This cannot be further from the truth, as my perception, created by walking on both sides of this valley of death, tells me that there is a joy we cannot possibly comprehend that awaits for us when we shed our physical body to join our ancestors in the spiritual realm. And this is very critical for us to understand that the joy, the peace, the hope, and the love we will feel as we depart our physical body is almost overwhelming. It is beyond our finite mind's understanding today. As the man-made ugliness of the physical plane fades from view, so too does the unhappiness and those intentions that bear no light, for they are worthless in the realm of the self, in the realm of the spiritual self. Although there are some who have crossed over prematurely that do struggle, they still are able to find the joy that surrounds them every minute. However, there are some that will not experience the joy. And this is why I say leaving your body early through self-inflicted suicide is never an answer. I strongly encourage each of us to seek and maintain our sense of hope. I have been taught, and I have always taught, that while it may be increasingly challenging sometimes, we can always maintain the hope through any adversity. Positive thoughts are a form or demonstration, if you will, of this hope that we have. It is a visual affirmation of our maintaining this hope. And sometimes, when we have surrendered too much, we can use these positive affirmations to relight the brightness of a hope. So the next time we feel ourselves slipping down the depressive slope, select some positive affirmations to provide to your mind. What I know is that you are absolutely worth it. Every minute, every affirmation, you are worth it. You are the most perfect gift to this physical lifetime we all have. A unique perspective that allows all of us to have a more complete picture of what you can provide to your community. One may say that while we may struggle to rekindle, to see hope in the darkest of times, living intentionally allows us to focus our mind and to bring back hope by intentionally seeking anything hopeful, futuristic, something to happen to us, for us. By setting these goals and these dreams, we're able to rekindle our hope. Hope, of course, brings love, and love generates the energy to power hope. So it becomes a circle of self-support to where you can actually then manifest this dream into the reality at which we currently live.
And now, a short break for these commercials. You're listening to the Alaska Uv Hefnar. Welcome back to the Alaska Uv Hefnar.
Thank you for rejoining me. When we were going to break, we were talking about positive affirmations. And so questions come, how do we build hope? If we have surrendered our hope, how can we restore it? And again, as I mentioned, thinking about living intentionally, where's our focus? By concentrating on the less desirable fate currently influence our existence, we may inadvertently create blinders that then only allow us to see those things. So to have hope, one must want to have hope. One must want to change our perspective, if only for a moment. We must focus our attention on the minor milestones that we can validate our progress towards our dreams, thereby giving us hope, restoring that value that we're moving forward, whatever it is that we hope for. By maintaining a vigilant eye on our progress, our faith in achieving our desire begins to multiply exponentially, building the excitement. The beautiful process with achieving these small steps is that as the excitement begins to grow, we begin to see beyond our first objective, our first hope, our first dream, to the second, and then maybe the third, and then the fourth. This is the process of both building and restoring our hope. Building the light back up. Hope is dreams manifested into reality. And that's what we're doing. And so we talk about the energies of the universe, the energies of love. These energies power our hope. As we send out our desires and our wants through our personal aura into the spiritual realm, into the deity, we begin this process of generating this energy. And by living intentionally, we multiply that energy exponentially, allowing for an expedited return of hope. Some have said that this thing or this person or this dream was hopeless. My friends, we are never without hope unless we give it away. Mother Earth gives us hope every day. Our deity gives us hope every day. Our ancestors pass on hope for better things, better lives, better ways. So hope is always here. We simply need to take away our blinders, alter our perception of the dream in question, alter it, and see how we can get around. We may be putting obstacles in our own way. We're doing it inadvertently or unconsciously, but we have a tendency, many of us will say, oh, I would really like to be a rock star and play with millions of people and have millions of dollars and these things and that. But then there's that nagging thought in our minds that we're not good enough, that we don't sound right, that we don't play our musical instrument well enough. My friends, like love, hope will find a way. Many people have said to me that they spent time as prisoners of war throughout our nation's history. Many different accounts, but many have said to me, we spent time as prisoners of war, and one of the things we all worked together and we used our positive affirmations to maintain, to build, to continue to provide energy for our hope that things would get better, hope that we would get out of whatever situation they were in, hope that things would heal. We have spoken with other practitioners recently who is a walking manifestation of hope and curing some very serious health concerns. And he used the spiritual energy, focused spiritual energy, to give himself hope. And as he accomplished the first objective, he looked towards the next one. And each step along the journey, he would constantly change his focus forward, always looking ahead on the road. This is this idea of building and maintaining our hope. One of the other facets of hope is this idea that, as I do, and I'm sure every parent out there does, is that we hope our children have a better life. Why do we hope for that? We hope for those things because we love those people. We have the energy of love. This hope that our parents are providing, and even our grandparents and our great-grandparents and our ancestors beyond that, as they want better things for us, they provide us with the energy to power our hope. What I encourage each of us to think about as we go about our daily lives and we shoot for the stars and we aim high is remember always the lessons that we may interpret as being setbacks or letdowns are possibly a lesson for us to learn, in that maybe in the gift of love, in teaching, the educational lesson here is for us to be able to help others accomplish their objective. Many people who have conquered, say, drug use or heavy alcoholism, and once they've conquered it and they're on their feet and they're rolling forward and they've accomplished their objectives, they realize this power. And so they turn to their friends who are maybe combating the same demons in their minds, and they begin to help them. My friends, that is love. And love builds hope. So the next time you're feeling rather let down, maybe with yourself, maybe a little depressed, I want you to remember that you are loved just the way you are. You need not change a thing. You are perfect in every way. Make affirmations. Believe in yourself.